Hey, Philip, do you prepare any differently during a week like this when you're going up against a team with kind of elite pass rush capabilities?
I don't know that you prepare any differently. Certainly, the opposing team's players are a big part of your preparation each week, but I don't know that you prepare differently. But certainly, those guys, you kind of, however you want to call it, they're circled, they're starred. You know that they have a lot of guys that can wreck the game. So this defense is a heck of a group, to say the least. So it'll be a heck of a challenge for us on Sunday.
Charlie Clifford.
Philip, with TY 10 catches after 3 games, I think that surprised some folks on the surface, but it seems like every time we see him on the sideline, I mean, his mentality, the fact that he's all there, and I know how much he takes away just being on the field. Just your thoughts about how he's carried himself, although he hasn't been that busy in the early going this year.
Yeah, he's been great. Obviously, my first experience being a teammate and being around him for a long period of time, but he's been awesome, both in the locker room, in the meeting rooms, on the practice field, and on game days. I know he's great for that receiver room, and shoot, to me, again, over all the years, wide receiver numbers kind of come in spurts sometimes, and sometimes you can go on a run from a statistical standpoint, and then other weeks maybe it's a little not as many opportunities. But I think you look last week, and every touch was a chunk. He gets the second play of the game for a first down to get us started. We get 1st and 20, and we're really just trying to get half of it back. We throw a comeback, and he ends up with a 20-something yard gain, and then a huge third down conversion. So those are all big plays, in the game. So I just think that's just the way this offense is going to go week to week. You just never know who it's going to be. I don't think, not because he wasn't capable, but I don't think anybody would have thought Mo was going to have the numbers at this point in the season. Not that he wasn't capable of it. You just wouldn't have expected it necessarily. So a lot of guys are going to be involved moving forward, and we're in this thing for the long haul.
George Bremer.
Philip, obviously, you never want to punt. I'm sure you'd be happy if Rigo never came on the field during a game. But is there a sense of confidence at all as a quarterback when you see a punter executing at that level and you know that he can flip the field the way he has?
Yeah, there's no question. I was as a young player in San Diego, our offensive coordinator, Cam Cameron, would say to me when I was my first year getting going, first couple of years as a starter, our punter is a weapon. Our punter is an offensive weapon. And I remember thinking that sounded crazy, but Mike Cyphers, a longtime punter there, was unbelievable punting the football, both obviously for distance, but also inside the 10, inside the 20, which you've already seen what Rigo's done with that, with field position, and then obviously flipping the field on some of the booming punts he hit the other day that also I think ended up down there inside the 10. So he's been awesome. And yes, we prefer never punt, but when you can, it's the other old saying, end every play, end every possession with a kick, either it be a field goal, PAT, or a punt. So certainly been awesome. Been awesome in the punt game, and Rigo has been great.
Andrew Walker.
Philip, I don't want to read too much into camp practices, but you certainly seem to throw a lot of passes Trey Burton's way before he went down. I remember lots was made when he signed about his route running ability and how Frank and Nick have used Trey's routes in the past as teach tape for other tight ends. Did you notice those kind of abilities with the quick, the little time you had with them, and how excited are you to incorporate him back into the offense once he's ready to go?
Yeah, I think your observations are fair in terms of the the practices y'all were able to see during camp. He did have quite a few touches, and certainly early on, I think the thing that stood out, first time being around Trey and throwing to Trey, is his feel. Obviously I said that about TY, it seems like 3 or 4 weeks ago, was his feel, and Trey has that at that tight end position. Just very good feel, finding spots, being very, as we call it, friendly to the quarterback. So, I'm sure Trey will ease his way back in. Not sure the exact plan for him from Coach and Nick, but it'll be good to have Trey back out there on the practice field with us.
Joe Erickson.
Philip, what do you think's gone wrong on third down so far for you guys?
Well, I think at the end of it, it's just lack of execution here and there. Little things. We know how critical that down is. It's interesting because We haven't had a 3 and out, as far as starting a possession. We've had a bunch of first downs. I don't know where we are in first downs, but yet third down, we're not near where we want to be or where we expect to be. So, again, I think when it's all said and done, we can get there from a percentage standpoint. We're not so far. I think it's just a lack of execution, things here and there. A couple of times we've gotten balls tipped, a couple of times we've been missed throws. It's just been just a hair off, and we know that's the difference. If you're a hair off on first down, you snap it again on second down and quickly forget it. But third down, obviously, it ends the possession. So we just got to continue to clean things up and work at it. I don't think we need to overreact because we're doing a lot of good things, and we have converted some key third downs, but certainly need to do a better job there of staying on the field at a higher percentage.
Mike Wells.
Hey, Philip, 3 games in with the little to no fans. From a quarterbacking standpoint, what's been different for you on how you run the huddle or get plays from the sideline?
I don't think anything from getting plays from the sideline. In the huddle, obviously, we've had 2 games at home, so I don't imagine it would have been much different. In Jacksonville, there was, whatever it was, 15,000. I do think, like, going into this week, in the huddle on the road, you're having to raise your voice quite a bit, and there's just a lot more yelling, I guess, for lack of a better word. So obviously you won't have to do that. So I think from a communication standpoint, it does make it easier. Thinking about making adjustments, all of those things. Sometimes you have to limit some of the checks and things like that when you're on the road. Those things obviously are going to be eliminated with the lack of 60,000 at Soldier Field. So and other places on the road, which is same for road teams when they come here, thus far. So I think the communication is the biggest thing. The offenses aren't putting that. We would work silent count all week this week if there were fans. Therefore, we can keep on the verbal cadence. So those are the little things that you felt so far. And then other than that, just the thought of how awesome Sunday would have been. I added to the awesomeness of those pick sixes and some of the big plays in that game if it would have been a packed house. So, but other than that, I think it's been pretty normal, other than, again, it does make the communication a lot easier.
What's been the biggest difference for you on game day? I mean, whether it's, hotel or just the overall experience of the way things are being handled by the league now?
Yeah, well, I just think, it's different. It's a little subtleties here and there, and I think we've gotten used to it. I think throughout the whole training camp, some of the adjustments that we've made and had to make, prep you to not really be caught off guard or be affected by some of the different things. Obviously, taking more buses, you're obviously more spread out on the airplane. All those things are a little different, certainly. But as far as our first 2 home games, just other than the lack of Lucas Oil Stadium being able to be full of all our great Colts fans, other than that, it's been Sunday operation as usual from a mindset and from how we've operated. Again, other than with some of the little parameters, the things in the lockers and again all those things. But I think we've gotten used to those because we've done them since July 28th.
All right, we'll go 3 more. Zach Kiefer.
Phil, now that we're into the regular season and you're settled in at quarterback, what's one thing you've learned that you didn't know back when you started with the Colts, July 28th? Teammates, coaches, what's one thing that kind of surprised you?
Gosh, being honest, I don't know that anything surprised me. I think so. I'm going to answer it, but I don't know that answering it saying surprise is correct. I think really just not knowing after that week 1 loss how our team would react, just because I've never been on this team before. Nick asked me Wednesday, and I may be repeating this, but Nick asked me Wednesday after the Jacksonville game. Walkthrough was a little dead. Everybody's a little, I think, still just aggravated about the game. And Nick asked me, how is everybody? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. I think good, but I don't know. I haven't been through it yet with these guys, coming off a loss and where we, felt like we let one get away. So I think that's the one thing. So saying that, how steady everybody is. I mean, you come in after a good big win the last 2 weeks, and it is head down and focused. And now, the guys have a lot of fun and enjoy wins for sure, but it's just been very steady, focused approach. And I'm not saying that doesn't surprise me, but that was one thing I found out now that getting into the regular groove of the season.
Kevin Bowen.
Philip, you guys faced the Bears last year, and you've obviously faced Chuck Pagano before. What are some of the qualities of his defense?
Well, gosh, they all play hard. They're very well coached and well disciplined, and they have a lot of good players too. But he does a heck of a job with them. He really they don't do a ton. Different than last week. Last week we didn't know there's people moving all over the place. You never know who's blitzing. Never know what version of cover 2 you're going to get with Greg Williams. Whereas this week, it's not going to be just a ton of a Rolodex of defenses, but everything they do, it's hard to tell the difference of what they're going to be in, and they do it very well, and they're very sound. You don't see many things where you go, well, who's got this gap and who's covering this zone? I mean, everything's tight. So it'll be a heck of a challenge. You mentioned we played them last year. It was a heck of a game. We ended up winning 17-16, I think, and they had a missed field goal there at the buzzer that should have beat us. But it'll be a heck of a challenge. Again, the environment will be different. But other than that, I think you got two good teams early on. Again, it's a long season ahead of us. They've had two come from behind wins. They were down 10 with 6-7 minutes left to play. 16 last week, 10 in week 1 against Detroit, and came back and won both of those. We know what we've done, letting that week 1 get away, and then we've won 2 in a row. But it's an early season, really good matchup. It'll be a heck of a challenge. I expect it to be a heck of a football game.
And last one, Jim Aiello.
Yeah, Philip, you mentioned Mo a little bit earlier, saying you knew he was capable of doing this, but does it surprise you that he's the leading receiver on the team right now?
I guess a little bit, just because again you don't know how it's going to play out. Not talent wise, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, but you don't think you're going to throw him an in route and literally have nobody on the screen, and have a 45-yard chunk like that. You caught the 2 7 routes against 3 7 routes against Minnesota. So you just never know how things are going to come up. So surprised, yes, just because you don't know how if you asked me training camp, you didn't know how it was going to go with those tight ends. Obviously, they were kind of in and out. Mo was out the first couple of weeks of camp, and then he gets back, and Jack was out a little bit, and then Jack gets back and Trey's out. So it's kind of just been a little bit of a shuffle, but we got a heck of a tight end room. We're going to need all those guys for the long haul. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a stretch where it was Jack, or if there's a stretch where it was Trey. Certainly it'd be great to keep this thing going like it's going with Mo, because it's helping our team win, helping our offense move the ball. So I think it's a big benefit to have the tight end group we have. Certainly not leaving out Noah in there and his contributions early as well. So it's a good group. It's one we kind of talked about how diverse we were, and it can sprinkle around to everybody. You saw Reese Fountain catch 2 balls last week, and I think one was his first catch in the league. Zach had some big plays. Unfortunately, Pittman's down for a little bit, but the ball's kind of spread out everywhere. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor, I don't know how many catches he had in college. He may have already reached that total. So you see how Naheem's contributed, Jordan. So this ball is going to go a lot of places, and so far it's been going to our guys a lot of the percentage of the time, minus a couple bad turnovers. So if we can keep doing that and spreading it around, we can keep moving the ball, getting first downs, and hopefully scoring a bunch of points.
Did you give any grief to Mo about not knowing where to go after he caught that long ball?
No, I can't give any grief, because I'm telling you, I would have been so uncomfortable with that much space. If you saw how uncomfortable I was on the aborted run that I kept the other day in tight quarters. I can't imagine what it feels like being out in the open like that. So I thought he did a nice job with it. Not many collisions like that with a tight end and a Mike linebacker 45 yards down the field. So pretty good.